Hi, today we're back with model and photographer and event planner Dakota Lee. She's graciously said that
Having
she'd
trouble
do
there?
this interview and she's enjoying making fun of me. And I'm leaving this clip in so everybody can see what a derp queen she
I'm
is.
so yeah, and I'm so mean to you.
She's a derp queen. Yeah, we'll get into the meanness later.
God.
So let's get started. First of all, were originally known for your art modeling.
Yes.
That's what you got. That's the genre of modeling you got into first, right?
Yeah, it is. That's what I started doing. And I kind of just like by happenstance got into art modeling, and then from there, like a lot of people run workshops, and I didn't like the way some of them were unsafe. So I thought maybe I could create events that were a little bit like safer. And do I look at the camera or
You
like
can do it wherever you
okay.
want.
Okay. I didn't know like what people normally do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so I wanted to create like safe events for models where they can, like we can foster creativity in a safer environment, right? So that's how the event started. And then I think I just got kind of bored of modeling for a little bit, and I wanted more creative control in behind the lens versus in front of. So that's how I started shooting.
Okay. So, what made you make the decision to go into art modeling first, and why art modeling as opposed to going into fashion or commercial print or lifestyle
Oh.
modeling first? What was the catalyst that made you decide, okay, I'm going to do,
Yeah, but what can I say on YouTube though? Like that's the thing.
well, you just say whatever is not going to
So
incriminate yourself.
yeah, it's like for monetization as
Hmm.
well. I feel like you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
I would say so. I never thought I was like model material. Like when I first started modeling, I think I was 31 and doing trade shoots, and I wasn't even considering myself a model because I thought models were all like 5'10" and like with the 23-inch waist and just all 18 years old, and I was way past all of that. Um, so I really I've always liked the figure. I've always really been drawn to um how do I say it? Like how do I articulate it? I've just always been drawn to the figure. I find it really powerful. I find it really emotive. I think there's a lot more that you can express. That's a very timeless way of expressing yourself versus like fashion or whatnot. Also, like again, like going into fashion photography, the criteria for being a fashion model is different. I can do like lifestyle or catalog modeling or commercial modeling, but I again didn't even think I was model material. So I started modeling for photographers who just found me online. They were like, "Hey, like I like your face. Like, would you like? Here's my portfolio. Would you like to be, in one of these projects that I'm working on?" And I was like, "Sure." And because they weren't looking for models, they wanted someone who wasn't a model because the posing was very macabre and abstract, and they wanted someone who wasn't so concerned with like looking perfect all the time. So I really liked it. I found myself going from someone who wasn't artistic at all or considering myself artistic to finding my niche for how to express myself creatively. Because like modeling is a lot like acting, but it's like a light version of acting. So it's like a way I felt like I was like it's like a form of acting, and it was a very meaningful way for me to express myself. So I do a lot more, I would say, lifestyle and fashion stuff now, just because I did figure work for so long, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes along with working with people for figure work. And I think the cons began to outweigh the pros. I still work with I still do work with a select people. I mean, Paul, I would work with you any day, but for like largely speaking, I do like fashion and like lifestyle type stuff now.
Okay. So the main thing with your transition from art nude photography to fashion and commercial lifestyle and maybe a little bit of boudoir on the side whenever you could get
Yeah,
it.
like lingerie, like modeling. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Okay. So your transitioning was away was you were bored with the figure work and there was some safety issues with the figure work.
Yeah, well, it's more like mm, I don't want to make it seem like I don't like working with men for figure work, but it's more when you're doing that as like your main source of income, just by default, like everyone has projects at work they like or don't like. And if your main style of photography is figure work, you're going to get great people who are really into the artistic process and they align with your artistic view of like of figure work. But then you're just by default going to come across people who are very male gaze, like it's very sexualized, and I'm trying to step away. Like my whole point with figure work is like to look at the body in a way that's like our bodies exist as more than just what we can offer people sexually. Like our bodies are beautiful and emotive and vulnerable and strong and like I wanted to express that in my work, and I wanted to work with people who just appreciated the figure without there being this sexual overtone or undertone. And I think I just got tired of the cliche male gaze. And there are photographers I work with who are men who aren't like, again, like your work, for example, like you're not the cliche male gaze. And you work with men, you work with women, you work with trans people, you work with all kinds of people, as long as they have almost no tattoos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I know. But I wanted to step away from doing figure work and really only do figure work with people who I really vibe with artistically, and then do paid work more in the fashion and lifestyle realm predominantly.
Right.
Hope it answers.
Yeah, that answers the question, I think.
Sorry, I meander.
I forgot what the question was actually, but whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in editing.
Ooh,
Hopefully, I'm not going to edit this. I'll just probably, if we can keep going, we'll, unless you say something politically incorrect again, we got to stop.
You said it. Oh my God. Whatever.
All right. So tell me, how has your fashion and commercial journey been? Like,
It's been great.
Did you have any limitations with finding fashion and commercial work because of like you said in the beginning, you didn't see yourself as a model because you didn't have the height and you didn't have the body specs for it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't work with like a lot of larger companies, but I think I'll clarify kind of fashion and lifestyle. Like I do sometimes work with companies, but and the way that I found those companies was really just creating a portfolio that they felt was like safer to hire a model like for those projects. If they look at a model's portfolio and all they see is figure work, like they have no understanding of how you're going to look in this outfit or that outfit or like what your posing style is. So when the pandemic hit and I wasn't modeling it, like nobody was modeling, right? I took that as an opportunity to create a portfolio and like do self-portraits and work trade with a couple of local photographers in the DC area. That's where I live, is in the DC area, that I trust. And then I built a fashion portfolio that way. And then I just started to have people like reaching out to me because again, it's like they see, okay, she can do fashion, she can do lifestyle, she has a commercial look, for example. And companies will see that and then they'll want to work with you because they see the versatility you have within these genres.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
What about tell us about your foray into the workshop now. This is your current focus in your career, or your primary focus in your career is running workshops for photographers?
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good chunk of my income. I'd say at this point it's probably 40% of my income. So it's significant. I mean, I just I've been running them since I think 2016, like late 2016 or 2017 is when I started running them. So it's been a long time. I built a reputation for myself. I'm international now, so I'm doing like Costa Rica, like I'm going to France, like I'm doing events out. I'm probably doing Italy next summer. And then I'm running events all over the country. Like I love doing stuff in the desert. That's like one of my favorite things to do is go out to the desert. But it's just something that I built slowly over time and just a really rock solid reputation. Like, my events, like when I need to refund people, I refund people. Like I try to maintain really ethical business practices so that people keep coming back to my events.
getting bad reviews, nobody's gonna come to them.
Yeah, and it's like I think people don't realize how small this community is. If there's a photographer that creates a bad name for themselves in Denmark, like we're gonna hear it all the way in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna hear that. And I think, it seems like a big world out there, but within our community of model photography, it's actually quite small. So, I think some workshop organizers, they just, I don't know, they just don't think about the long game for the reputation. And like honestly, the reputation thing should be for your own integrity.
Right.
Like you should treat people well because you should.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
like anyways, but also if you don't treat people well, somebody in Denmark may know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I know the models have been doing some. They keep their little chat groups where they tell who's safe and who isn't, and who's been inappropriate and who isn't. That's always a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't know why photographers don't do this because I have been burned by a couple of models and I would have liked to have known because like it would just be nice for photographers to have a resource. But yeah, we have model safety groups. They are really, really helpful. I fully advocate for them. I'm part of a few, and I have been able to get out of some, like someone reached out to book me, and I was able to do some reference checking and some vetting. And turns out the guy is not great to work with. So I dodged a bullet. I mean, it keeps models safe and alive,
Right.
because we have to protect each other. So I'm a big advocate of safety groups.
Good. That's really good. And last but not least, as far as your personal life, has there ever been an issue with finding a romantic partner because of your work?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think all of us have it. Like photographers deal with it. If photographers are single and they're photographing beautiful women, like other women just don't like that. Like, they think they do, and then it's like when you start building a relationship with somebody and they get feelings involved, it gets a little bit harder. And the same with models. Like the whole thing, everyone wants to date a model until they date a model. And you have to be the kind of person. I mean, I date men. I only date like men pretty much. So like I think you have to be a pretty confident dude to date a model, especially a model who does figure work. I mean, um, how to even summarize it? But I mean, to summarize it, there's basically the two categories of guys, right? There's the guys who are like, oh, she's here for a good time, not a long time, right? So they don't take you seriously because they just see you as like a fun trophy that they can collect, like add to their collection of, like, oh, cool, I got to sleep with the model. That's great. And, like if you want to actually build something more, they're not interested in that because you are a model, right? And I don't have an OnlyFans, I don't have a Patreon, I don't do any of that. Like I don't do erotic work. Like I'm pretty aggressively art model. Like that's as far as I go. And even with that, like, men just they have a big problem with it. And so there's that category. And then there's the other kind of category, again, like generalizations here, but where they're cool with it. They're super cool with it. Like, oh yeah, it's great. Like that you're a model and like, whatever. Until they catch feelings. And then they're like, oh wait, this person that I'm in love with is naked in front of other men.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Like, and then there's like this whole new level of like they have to process they have to wrap their brain around that, right? And like, so I'm with someone now who's amazing and supportive, and he like is just an amazing partner and the love of my life. But yeah, there was like in the beginning of the relationship, there was like explaining things to him. He came to a couple of my shoots so he can see how clinical it is. Like this is not, the photographer's telling me I'm beautiful like the whole time we're shooting. Oh baby, you're so sexy. Like no, that's going to get you blacklisted. It's not like that at all. It's like the way that I want someone to treat me when we're shooting is the way that I want, like if I was a lawyer, my colleague should talk to me. Like it's like I'm very corporate in my language. Like I want to have fun and a good time and like create art. But so once he saw that and landing the plane, once my partner saw that I think he became more accepting and understanding of it, and he realized how important it is for my artistic expression. So yeah, I mean, even the most, and he's confident, he's brilliant. I mean, he knows I'm crazy about him. He knows I don't really like people in general,
Especially me.
especially you. Yeah, 100%. But like even him, it takes a lot of trust, and I get it. I mean, I totally get it. It's a very fringe lifestyle being a model. It's like not a normal thing. So
Well, to flip that on its head, have you ever dated a model who did figure work, and let's say your normie friends knew about it, for lack of a better term? Did
mhm.
they ever try to put any bug in your ear about this guy's naked? And
No, nothing like that. I dated one model, and they were, um, I mean, kind of in my same circles, anyways. So it just wasn't like really, and I don't know. I guess it wasn't like an issue because, they being like they like non-binary, they like, yeah. I mean, it just was like it wasn't really an issue. And like, I mean, they met my family because we dated, for a little bit, and then afterwards we were really good friends for like several years after we
Mhm.
dated, and it just never really, I don't know, like it never really came up. But I think someone who is, again, they're non-binary but assigned male at birth, right? Um, I think maybe there are different standards for people who are assigned male versus like women, and like
No, no, no. I wasn't even talking about your ex. I was talking about your friends, normie friends. Like, was there ever with your
no,
girlfriends? Did they ever put a
oh
bug in your
no,
like, oh my god, your partner is naked in front of people, and
no,
who knows what could be going on?
no.
I hear that a lot from people when they're like when they give me compliments on my work. If I show them, especially my coworker, I told you that story. One of my supervisors,
Oh yeah, what?
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I told you that story, and that blew my mind. I was like, I should just give up right now because these normies are never going to get it.
Well, yeah, no, but that's my point. Is like, okay, so they're like, for all like intents and purposes, like a male, right? When someone sees this person, they're like, okay, like that person looks like a male, right? And I think when we think of naked men, we don't think of them we don't categorize them the same way that we categorize women, right? So like, oh my God, naked woman. Oh my God, she should be ashamed of herself. You let your girl do that? Like, what's wrong with you, bro? But like when someone's dating someone who's like assigned male at birth, in the case of the non-binary person I dated, it's like they're also an athlete. So they're muscular and like they have a physique that's like, okay, like they can wrap their head, like there doesn't seem to be any, what's the word, salacious?
Mhm.
There's no
Intent.
there's no salacious intent there, but God forbid a woman
Mhm.
be naked.
Mhm.
Oh no, there's salacious intent
Right.
suddenly. So I never had that issue.
Well, you've been
No.
lucky.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You've been lucky. I've heard some of the horror stories from a lot of the models who come through here, and a lot of them times they were just talking. I've heard a lot of heavy stuff coming from them, and I really feel bad about that. But there's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah, I think there's what I've come across more of is like if I like for example when I dated a photographer, um it was more like, oh, like they're photographing other women. Like like people can't wrap around their head when a man is around beautiful women that they're not trying to hook up with them.
Right.
Like that's more of the issue I've seen for my
That's what everybody, as far as my tiny little social circle outside of
yeah.
like work, is basically my social circle, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Wow, man, you're lucky," and it's
Literally,
like,
yeah.
"No, I'm not."
Yeah, it's like they would probably have less issue if the man posed naked versus if the man photographed women
Yeah,
in the nude. That's more of like, oh, he must be cheating on you. You
yeah,
let him do that? Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness, girl.
yeah,
Like, yeah, that's where there's, but again, I mean, that's a moot point at this point.
yeah. At this point, yeah, you're
I'm dating an IT dude,
yeah,
so
you're set. I'm done, and that's a wrap. Thank you for your time. All of your links will be in the description of this video.
yes. Oh my God, super follow me on Instagram, MS Dakota Lee.
No, don't do that.
Not
All the
very
links will
nice.
be in the description for anybody who's interested in photography and if you're a photographer, get with Dakota. Her workshop link will be in
Attend
the
my
description.
events. Stay tuned for Italy
Yes.
2025.
If you're an international person, and
Come to Italy, yes.
come to Italy. Go to Italy. Have good food and good photography and good.
Yes.
All right. Thanks very much. Signing off.